Hey, everybody. Maybe I'm live, maybe I'm not. I guess it's not of my concern. It's out of my hands at this point. But I'm Eugene Driscoll of valleyindy.org. Welcome to another edition of Navel Gazing, the Valley Indy podcast. I'm doing like 9 of these a day. I'm like the politician who runs for office and you never hear from them until they're up for re-election, and then suddenly you can't get them out of your Facebook feed, huh? So next week is The Great Give. It's May 4th and May 5th. The Great Gives an on. Oh, actually, I got something in the mail. This is official. The Great Give 2022, May 4th, 8 a.m. to May 5th at 8 p.m. 20 towns, 36 hours, 450 plus nonprofits you can support during the Great Give. Is this thing live? I want to make sure I'm actually live. It says visit thegreatgive.org on May 4th and 5th to support your favorite nonprofit, then give to a new one. Donations unlock additional matching funds and prizes of more than $268,000. Thegreatgive.org is the website. There are, like it says, more than 450 nonprofits from the Valley and Greater New Haven participating, including valleyindy.org. You're watching the valleyindy.org Facebook page right now. If you go to donate.valleyindy.org during the Great Give, you can support the Valley Indy. I'm trying to raise $15,000 from readers during this year's Great Give. Again, it's donate.valleyindy.org. So I woke up, I just got the kids out to school. My wife is on her way to work. So like the morning from 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. is always a blur. But I did answer an email that I received. An email came in overnight. I don't know who it's from because I'm not that smart, not that technically savvy. But basically, the gist of the question was, how do I know if I go to this donate.valley.org stuff you keep shoving down my throat, that the money I donate actually goes to the Valley Indy? And I can tell you that it does go to the Valley Indy because the donation goes to our bank account, goes to the Valley Indy bank account, which is supervised, I guess, for lack of a better term, by the Online Journalism Project, which is the nonprofit that essentially publishes. They're the nonprofit that publishes the Valley Indy. We wouldn't have been able to get our initial grant money or any grant money from all the foundations thereafter if we weren't affiliated with the Online Journalism Project. And that's Paul Bass is the executive director. He's the guy that hired me back in 2009 to launch this thing. So I'm a cog in the wheel. I'm an employee. So I'll just read what I answered to this. I think maybe a lot of people have this question because, of course, if one person asks a question, a lot of people probably have the same question. And in this day and age, I mean, everybody's asking for money for something, right? It's all over Facebook, and it's hard to know what's what. And we all read these stories about how whatever the administrative fees and blah, 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 things beyond my comprehension. But the donations to the Valley Indy are administered through GiveGab. That's the website. Like on the back end, I'm using this thing called GiveGab to set up my profile for the Great Give and all that good stuff. GiveGab is a service or a company engaged by the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, as far as I know. That's the philanthropic organization that brought the Great Give to the area about a decade ago. So like I said, my bank account is linked to GiveGab. So I'm probably, don't hack me. Okay. Maybe this email was just a phishing exercise and now I'm worried. But anyway, at the end of the Great Give, the donations go into the bank account. When a person donates, you get a message about fees. Because I know in the past, there's been people like, well, I don't want to give by credit card, and that's my only option. And then there's probably some fat cat looking like Colin Farrell as the Penguin in The Batman, smoking a cigar and collecting my money, and it's not going to the Valley Indy. Not really the case. It's pretty transparent about what fees are involved, and the donor, which is pretty standard practice these days, has the option to cover those fees if you would like. And then you get a receipt. I mean, essentially what I love about the Great Give, and what's really a godsend for an organization like the Valley Indy, like a small, tiny organization where the reporter, editor, marketing guy, grant writer is broadcasting to readers from his basement. This is essentially like having a true development person for one day, like a development director. The Great Give for the Valley Indy is the one day we have a development director, and that's somebody who can administer donations, right? It's a nonprofit. So after you donate, you get an emailed receipt thanking you and also something to keep for your records because it's tax deductible. So you have the nonprofit, or I think our federal ID code that you need to bring to your accountant. So that's all good. I mean, if I had to do all that, like I said in a previous episode, it just wouldn't happen. So like I said, the Great Give Gab specifically takes care of all that for me. It's as if I had a development director, according to the email I sent back to this person. So rest assured, the money you donate goes to the Valley Indy. I promise you. And then some, because there's also matching donations as mentioned in this flyer that I read. You can unlock additional matching funds and prizes of more than $268,000. So in terms of housekeeping, I still have to send out Zoom invites to all the guests I have invited onto the Great Give live stream, which will be happening May 4th and May 5th on this Facebook page. I went through and I'll publish the complete list, like say Monday. So I still have to do that. Meant to do that yesterday. It didn't happen. I have to buy a whole bunch of gift cards because I'm going to be giving away gift cards at certain times of the day during the Great Give. So you can win a $30 gift certificate to the restaurant, not of your choice, but the Dewdrop Inn is going to be one of them. I usually do Massimino's. What's Crave's new name? Uptown. I apologize, but last year I had that. The Valley Burger Shack over in Seymour. I try to hit a bunch in Derby, Ansonia, and Seymour. So I still have to do that. I'll do that Saturday. Although I have a fence guy coming. I live on a cliff and my kids are at an age where the cliff makes me very nervous. I can't tell you how many basketballs are now. If you live on Park Avenue, near the Quick Pick parking lot where they park all their stuff, there's about 1,000 basketballs that are from my yard. So I've got that to do. Then just in terms of the top news, right? What's the top news in the Naugatuck Valley this morning? I would say voters approve school and town budgets in Seymour. That's right. Last night, Thursday, April 28th, voters approved a combined $62 million town and school budget for the fiscal year starting July 1st. Town side of the budget was approved $688 to $373. School side of the budget was approved $589 to $475. It was approved even though it carries a mill rate increase. The mill rate is going from 34.71 mils in Seymour to 35.59 mils in Seymour. And according to the town, that translates to a tax increase, a property tax increase on a single family home assessed at $150,000 to $132 more next year. The other thing happened yesterday. Derby approved the budget. I covered that meeting myself personally. The tax board, after a 10-0 vote, approved a budget last night that does not increase the mill rate in Derby. That Derby budget totals $48.3 million, carries a spending increase of about $997,000 compared to the budget that was in place or approved 1 year ago. The just approved budget uses about $947,000 from the city's fund balance, but the mill rate stays at 38.6, according to multiple statements made at last night's meeting. It allocates an additional $100,000 for Derby Public Schools, which is much less than the school board request, but is about $40,000 more than the mayor had suggested go to Derby Public Schools for the fiscal year beginning July 1st. So I wrote a story on that. There's been 100 stories, I think, in the last couple of weeks about the Derby budget on valleyindy.org. I also did a podcast. Meeting ended at 7:37 last night. At about 7:46, I started to record a podcast and took some clips because the chairman of the tax board and the town clerk and the various members of the tax board made some summary statements about the budget process this year in Derby and about the budget itself. So please, if you didn't see the podcast last night, it's embedded on valleyindy.org along with the story. Also, I caught up, last week. The last couple of weeks have been extremely busy in terms of news. Just looking over, I just got a message, sorry. There was that horrible homicide in Ansonia that happened. There was the Seymour fire in Derby. There was a dog shot, and I wrote a few stories on that, including a legal action commenced by the city of Derby under its corporation counsel, John Marini, to make sure the city takes ownership of that dog, or it's more specifically the Shelton Animal Control officer takes control of that animal. That case, criminal case, is still pending against the alleged owners. So did I mention that? Yeah, the massive Seymour fire, we did a couple of stories on. So a couple of things fell through the cracks, and I apologize. but I just posted some things yesterday from Ansonia schools, specifically some press releases, some achievements of teachers and students in Ansonia. So please go to valleyindy.org. Look under Extra Extra if you're on a desktop, or look on your phone or tablet or device or whatever you use to access the internet for more information on that. So that's really it. I don't want to speak for a half hour, but I don't know. Should I start doing these things every day? Do people want some type of roundup of the local news happenings? I wish. The thing we're not getting, I'm a little nervous about the Great Give this year, because Facebook has a new setup for pages, specifically news pages. I think we're being siloed out, if that's a term, of your news feed, your personal news feed. I don't think we're showing up because of just some recent changes. That's been happening. That's been a trend since the 2016 presidential election. It's been, Facebook has been making changes, making it harder and harder and harder to reach people. I assume because of the spread of misinformation and all that good stuff, which we don't do. That's not my thing. I'm not 100% perfect, but I'm definitely not trying to mislead anybody by reporting local news. So I'm not getting the questions on these live streams that I used to get, which, please, if you're listening, please come back May 4th and May 5th. There's going to be a lot of flop sweat. I'm no broadcaster by any means of the imagination. I just had a lot of coffee this morning and some energy. And it's Friday, right? Happy Friday. So please, but there'll be, Mayor Zekin will be on. Mayor Cassetti, I hope, or at least John Marini, Sheila O'Malley, they'll be on. So if you have questions for your leaders, that's one of the things that I think is great and different about the Valley Indy, is that we do present opportunities where you can question people directly, your local officials, about whatever's on your mind. Don't be trolling. Let's remember the spirit of the Great Give. It's to celebrate the Valley and all the incredible work that the nonprofits do. And again, more than 450 nonprofits are participating next week. So you can give with confidence. One of the things here is, I had an email saying, well, how do I know it goes to the Valley Indy? 450 nonprofits would not be participating in this if they didn't benefit from it. And I can't even, behind the scenes, I have a Zoom background I can use. There's a graphic on our Facebook page. These are all things that I don't have the ability, talent, or time to do, just creating graphics for an event like this. And it's all done for us. All the nonprofits, this is done for them, thanks to GiveGab, the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven. I can't say enough about this. So I'm trying to raise $15,000 for the Valley Indy. But like I said, if you hate media, I did you wrong at some point, don't donate to me. At least watch the Valley Indy Great Give live stream on this Facebook page on May 4th and May 5th, and learn about other nonprofits you can give to. Or, there's so many I can't even squeeze in. This thing has grown so much. Go to thegreatgive.org and you can search by location. You can search by town. You can search by subject the nonprofit cares about, or their mission. You can search by causes, I'm trying to say. So it's just such a great thing for the area. Thegreatgive.org. And don't we need something we can rally around, like a single positive event we can all rally around after the last couple of years? I certainly feel that way. If you want to support the Valley Indy, you can do so right now. We have one donation of 100. Listen, I'm just going to come clean with you. It says anonymous. It was me. I just wanted to go through the donation process to see if it works and what happens, so you could give with confidence. So we have one donor, which that makes me a little nervous, because usually walking into this the past couple of years, we've had several $1,000s raised in advance, which makes me think my strategy of relying on Facebook might not be a good thing anymore. So I might have to do something different next year for the Great Give. But we'll see what happens. $15,000 I'm trying to raise. Go to donate.valleyindy.org right now if you're so inclined. Support the Valley Indy. Keep local news alive. Hey, if anybody wants to give a couple of $1 million, wouldn't it be great? I would love to hire 2 full-time staffers, right? That's my dream. I think that would be a perfect amount. We had that in 2012. We had 3 full-time staffers. We were firing on all cylinders. We're actually producing almost the same, if not more, content at this point, but 3 full-time staffers would be great. Myself and 2 others. New Haven started a radio station, right? New Haven Independent got a grant for a community radio station. Imagine if the Valley had its own community radio station, like WADS back in the day. Which this might not work, but I have actually a sound. I have it. all letters for WADS.
This is WADS, Samsonia, Stratford, Trumbull.
But I don't think it comes through on the Roadcaster to Zoom. Well, wouldn't it be wonderful? So if you have like a couple $1 million sitting around, you're looking for something to do, donate to the Valley Indy and we'll start a radio station, right? A Valley exclusive radio station, a community radio station. If you get a chance, check out New Haven Independence radio station. It's really cool. All right, I've blabbed on. Let's read some of the comments. Somebody says, I'm the bomb. I matched your donation in hopes of fecal gazing. Okay, so we have somebody who, see now without context, just throwing, I'm going to get banned from Facebook because of this. Okay, so Anita, thank you very much for that comment. The context here is that there was a post on the Derby community page a couple of weeks ago where someone was complaining about someone was walking their dog and left their dog's poop like right in a flower bed. It almost seemed like it was vindictive or malicious in some way. So there was a long thread, as tend to happen on Facebook community groups, about that experience, this person's experience of having someone in the neighborhood leave their dog poop on their yard. And I noted that, I let my dog poops in the front yard a lot. I have a rescue dog, so she's got a really peculiar personality, a lot of quirks to it. She likes to poop in our front yard. I'll leave it there for a little bit. I know that's gross, but I'll clean it up and I eventually take care of it. It's on my yard. I had one, so I'm not that big. It doesn't really bother me if I find strange dog poop on my yard. I just take care of it. But a couple of weeks ago, somebody let their dog poop on my yard or on the sidewalk or on the grassy part next to the road on the sidewalk. I wasn't paying attention. I saw that there was somebody out there. They had their dog. The dog was actually doing its business, was obviously doing its business. And I thought nothing of it. And then I went out to go. It was garbage day, right? So I had my cans of garbage and my recycling out there. And I noticed that whoever this person was scooped up the dog poop and put it on top of my garbage, unbagged, raw dog poop. And I don't know what they used. I don't know if it didn't look like it was handled by a hand. I don't know if they took like the cardboard out of my recycling to do it. But if you're listening to this, it's just leave the poop. I'll take care of it. Don't put it raw on my garbage, because lo and behold, that day, the city carting missed one of my garbage cans. They missed it before the poop incident, so they're not connected. It's not like they saw the poop and didn't pick it up, but they actually missed that can, and I had to contact City Hall. Thank you very much to Mrs. Fran Pepe. I guess Mrs. Fran Pepe isn't a proper term. Fran Pepe over at Derby City Hall helped me out, and they came back and got it. But anyway, that's what that comment is about. That's why there's a fecal gazing. Nina wants me to change. I don't know what would be the subject. I do host a podcast on the weekends with my buddy called Insufferable Bastards. We could change that to fecal gazing. Samantha Bergen, thank you very much for your kind words. Happy to support the Valley Indy. Encourage everyone who's able to give even $10. Yes, there is a recommended amount. Like we had a grant a couple of years ago looking at how to keep this thing sustainable. And one of the things and this was a nonprofit business advisor that's what he does. He's an expert in this stuff. And he said, you're always going to rely on reader donations and support from foundations to some extent. The business advertising in this day and age and what I can offer compared to a radio station or a Facebook page, it's just not the same. So he recommended that you increase your $100 donors. So that's why if you've given $100 in the past, you might have received a postcard. I'm going to send out an email asking you to donate again at least $100, because we need a certain percentage of people to give $100. So that's the recommended amount to give, and I'm looking to raise $15,000. The first year, I don't know anything about fundraising. The first year of the Great Give, or probably the second year, I just put something saying like, donate $25, and then we had like a bunch of people donate $25, and I was like, oh, wait a second. Then a professional fundraiser said, no, you need to actually have a dollar amount that makes sense and actually helps the bottom line. So anyway, that's that. We're looking for donations of $100 if possible, but there's no minimum or maximum amount. Thomas Harbison says that fits. You have the gift of the gab. I just work. This is what happens when you're a one person operation. This is the, my wife's at work, the kids are at school. This is my communication with the outside world, other than like angry text messages from local officials. No, that doesn't happen, actually. Doesn't happen at all. All right, I'll shut up now. I'll refresh one more time, and I will ask people, I'm begging you, please, during the Great Give, fire away your questions. It helps so much, and share the content, because we are just not getting the exposure and views that we got just a year ago. So, but we'll do it either way. Great Give is happening May 4th and May 5th. I can't wait. It's an exciting time, and you will be inspired. I was going to say, oh, your money back, but no, that's not going to happen. You will not get your money back. All right. Love you. See you later.